are still going to be on the Charizard here. So kind of running it back. And once again, that has also been a big trend of ours over the past, couple matches that we've been talking about. What are the trends? Are you still on the same deck? Have you made any adjustments here? But of course, Hermione's results speak for themselves here. But of course, just going still undefeated back-to-back, that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we also have Fabrizio here on the right-hand side. I mean, just look at some of those results as well. He's no slouch himself. He's had an LAIC top 4, World's top 16. He's won and been a regional champion in sort of fairly recent times as well. Santiago has actually had 2 great performances in Santiago, so it's great to have him here competing in Europe as well. But it's going to be a great matchup. As you mentioned, Hermione's piloting Charizard once again, and Fabrizio is actually piloting a bit more of a usual Mega Absol box, not the one that you saw. We get a glimpse of the prizes here, Emily.
Ooh, okay, this is actually really important. So when we're talking about the Mega Absol, Mega Kangaskhan box here, the ace spec of choice is Precious Trolley. Cannot tell you how many times players saying, hey, I would like to go second, and I'll find my Precious Trolley. But I know one thing that players say, I hate starting Blood Moon Ursaluna, Alex.
Absolutely, we're kicking things off here in Swiss round 8, Hermione versus Fabrizio. It's just an energy attachment to the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, and they pass. That Tatsugiri is going to be staring down at a very scary Big Bear, but it's not going to be able to do too much anytime soon.
This is a crazy opening hand from Hermione, right? We already have the Buddy Buddy Poffin in hand. We have 2 Duskulls. We have the TM Evolution in hand as well, but something to kind of note out about this Charizard EX deck. While it's great to get your Dusknoir engines up and running, it's really our favorite birdie friend, Pidgeot EX, that does the work for us. Alex, I mean, Charizard EX has been in this format now for quite some time and has always been paired with this Pidgeot. Quick search, once during your turn, you are able to go into your deck and pick a card, any card. You don't have to reveal it either. And usually it is, some sort of deck disrupt, a gust or something like that. But regardless, you'd love to see this if you're Hermione, right? You already have a way to get your Pokemon, your basic Pokemon out onto the bench. You can really start moving here. The only thing I think is missing from the hand, Alex, is an energy to use TM Evo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a few different ways to kind of maneuver this point right now. We may be able to use the Tatsugiri to maybe grab an important supporter to get the other pieces alongside the energy. But at the same time, we're still going to need to burst into those Charmanders and the Charmeleons and the Charizards. Remember, the Charizard's the massive, big, bad, dark attacker with that fantastic attack, Burning Darkness 180 base. But then 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. And then when combined, like you've already mentioned, it's just that important Pidgeot EX with that super, super incredible quick search ability. Just means sometimes you can just run away with games and you don't even have to worry about it too much. But when you're just staring at a board of just a Blood Moon Ursaluna, Fabrizio hasn't got any draw power with that Mega Kangaskhan right now, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself right now.
And Hermione doesn't even know this yet, but Precious Trolley, part of the whole kind of engine of Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Absol being prized, we're not going to be able to kind of have that explosive start where we're going to be able to grab Kangaskhan and Absol. And what's really important in this list and in this matchup, Alex, is that we are seeing on Fabrizio's side a Psyduck here. Very, very important to call out. It's one of our favorite cards that has this ability Damp, where your opponent's Pokemon cannot knock themselves out. So things like, for example, Curse Blast, a specific counter is not going to be able to be played this turn, which could help Hermione hit those high numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do see the Technical Machine evolution to the active and pulls the Lily's determination from that Tatsugiri's ability to attract customers. It's found a Lily's now and being able to shuffle in your hand and draw 8 because you have 6 prizes still remaining. And this is surely one way to hit one of those energy cards, one of those 8 energy cards that Hermione plays, and then we can maneuver into the Charmeleon and also potentially the Pidgeotto as well, because none of those pieces are prized, so we don't have to worry about that too much. As long as we don't draw into them, we're going to be feeling very, very good here right now. Here's the 8 cards. Let's see what Hermione's going to be working with.
See what it is. We just need the energy. We did find a couple here. We found more than we actually asked for. We also found a rare candy for next turn, Alex, as well.
Beautiful.
So if we wanted to potentially swing a little bit bigger with something like a Dusknoir, Curse Blast onto and using it onto this Blood Moon Ursaluna, who I don't think is going anywhere unless we're able to find a Latias to pivot out here. We'll see how exactly it's going to go down.
I think, is that a Charmeleon and a Dusclops? So it looks like he's only going to have one evolution Pokemon here. I mean, I'll just double check. It might just be the Pidgeotto that's coming down. He has selected the Charmander and the Pidgey. There's the Pidgeotto. Yeah, I believe the Charmeleon hit the hand alongside the Dusclops, so didn't have 2 targets. A bit unfortunate, but if you're just staring at a board of Blood Moon Ursaluna, it's not too much of an issue right now. And here comes an Arvin, and we're going to be able to maneuver around as well, because Fabrizio does also have Latias in hand, but maybe we don't want to put it down too early. It is one of those Pokemon that I believe, is it weak to dark?
It is weak to dark, Alex. So it is a psychic.
It's not pretty to be staring down at a Charizard at some point, but maybe we could just leave the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX in the active, get the Technical Machine Turbo energized, and start powering up our attackers that way for the moment at least, as we do just kind of double check what's available. One of the key things, as you've already mentioned, with Precious Trolley prized, it's going to be really difficult to get the other sort of Pokemon into play. Usually with the Mega Kangaskhan or Mega Absol box deck, you really just want to have that perfect board state in one turn.
Yeah.
And that's usually done with Precious Trolley.
And that's kind of the interesting part here is the question of where do I go, right? I see kind of a line where Fabrizio could potentially go something like Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon because Cornerstone Stance not able to be hit by a Pokemon with an ability, so we could be seeing that here. And to my knowledge of looking at the list here, I don't think Armani plays direct counter like the Ho-Oh, the single price Ho-Oh that we saw kind of popping up here and there, other than Mew EX, of course. But we'll see what the choice is going to be. I do see that Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon is to the front.
Being eyed up.
Yeah, honestly, I don't see an issue with this. We could just keep the board light as well. That's also a very, absolutely fine play here. You don't need too much as long as you got one Pokemon to handle us. But it is going to be probably this Turbo Energize into the Demolish. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, as we've already mentioned, this kind of list that Fabrizio is playing, he has got the second energy attachment onto the Blood Moon. So we're just saying, and prepping it if this Cornerstone ever does go down at some stage. Blood Moon is actually only one energy away from attacking because of that season skill ability. There's the Energize onto the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX there. And it's just saying, well, typically, where we've seen the kind of roundabouts of Mega Absol box decks, they've actually started taking out Cornerstone Ogerpon EX from their decks as well, because they're like, well, people are going to play counters. There's no point me wasting space in there. Here's the Mega Zagoza, Tails. But then this leads into that interesting position because, like you said, there's no Ho-Oh. We don't see anything like a Chi-Yu if something gets knocked out, and you can kind of then burst through with sort of the Curse Blast and Dusknoirs as well. It really is just a Mew EX that can attack it and the Charmeleon.
Yeah, it's not exactly a comfortable spot here for Hermione, right? I mean, we can just evolve into the Charmeleon here. I do see a rare candy as well if we want to just go straight into the Charizard. I'm trying to think of the line where Hermione's going to be able to combo Dusknoir into Dusknoir potentially, right? And that's one way that we can actually get rid of the Cornerstone Ogerpon here. Or if we want to just keep building up our board here. Very interesting, though, going to be actually discarding the Charmeleon. So I have to be assuming that we are just going to be going straight into rare candy Charizard or, of course, rare candy Pidgeot.
Yeah, there's a few different routes. I mean, he had the Pidgeotto already on the bench, so can hold on to that rare candy for the moment. Maybe rare candy being held for maybe a double Dusknoir pop, just like you kind of mentioned. If we're able to find the Dusknoir at the same time, because now we have Quick Search Live, we can always find at least one piece of the puzzle, piece of the combo pieces, and that's one way to keep just dealing with a Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. But if Fabrizio then suddenly finds a side duck at some point as well, like Hermione's on the clock to be able to do this.
And that's kind of the weird caveat we're in, right? Do we want to take advantage of the fact that there's not too much of a board to deal with now, plus also something like Iono? I mean, the hand doesn't look too good. My goodness, that's so much energy. But I think right at the bitter end, we do find, of course, my favorite supporter to come out of this set, Lily's Determination. And if it's played, 8 fresh cards.
How many other supporters from the most recent set do you know about?
Anyway, we'll see if the quick search target. Thanks, Alex Dow. Always making me look good on the desk. We'll see how this.
I don't know any either. Well, I probably do, but it doesn't matter. The most important one is the Lilies.
Of course. But we are going to quick search here. I'm assuming now we're probably going to get the Charizard. I'd be very surprised if we don't. So it is probably going to be the quick search for the Charizard. We'll see rare candy Charizard. We'll get the energy out of the deck, and then we'll play down Lily's Determination to really kind of like reset the hand, see where exactly we're going to go here.
Yeah, there's a few different options. I mean, the scary thing about facing up against these decks, you will be facing up against usually pennies. So you can't really take out the.
Oh, he's going for it, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, this is the route, right? If you can take the knockout and take it now and sooner, and you get to draw the 8 from Lily's Determination, it's a really, really explosive turn. It does mean you have to find, because you've already used the Pidgeot EX, that's there's a Super Rod that's being played. Yeah, it has to be Super Rod Ultra Ball, right? To go into it again, because it is just a one copy of Dusknoir, which can be fitted into the deck. And that's kind of one of those few things that he's going to have to piece together. Or you have to wait a turn, which gives Fabrizio some opportunity to find a Psyduck. So it's a really catch-22 scenario here. Can we find something like the Ultra Ball and Super Rod in one big 8-card hand? There's the secret box. That's one piece.
That is certainly one piece. I do believe.
Is it one short?
It might be.
Oh, no, is that Super Rod as well?
Could be. See the Buddy Poffin just still wanting to reset the board here. And I think, honestly, a lot of these Dusknoir decks, really, the decks that really kind of revolve around Curse Blast, there's so much math when you really think about it, right? I was trying to talk to Henry about this a little bit earlier in the day, where you just have to pick a number and figure out how do I get to this exact number, right? And still, drawing into your secret box off of Lily's Determination definitely feels good. But is there, realistically, Alex, are we going for anything crazy on Fabrizio's side next turn?
I'm trying to think if there's a way. Unfortunately, I think it's 20 damage short if you did suddenly find a Charizard EX and rare candy as well. But the secret box, discarding 3 cards to get 4, because you get a Stadium, an item card, a tool card, and a supporter. Does mean you can get the Ultra Ball. There is Super Rod in hand, so you can. But he's saving it for this one more turn because he wants to see one more piece. Can Fabrizio find the Psyduck here? And that's going to be so important because also Hermione's bench slots with no Clef Key available now. It means if Psyduck does come down, those Dusknoirs aren't going to be able to do anything unless you gust up the Psyduck and knock it out.
Has to play this Poke Gear here, try to find an Arven, finds the Iono, that could be a target, and that might be the only target we're taking here. One more, and it's just a penny. So it is just going to have to be the Iono here. Try and draw into a Nest Ball or just the Psyduck itself, right? Because the writing is on the wall on Hermione's side, right? We definitely want to go for something along the lines of, you know, using double Curse Blast to get this Cornerstone Ogerpon out of the way, right? Plus also, if we're starting to take prize cards on Fabrizio's side, Charizard's going to start getting a little bit stronger, Alex.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. If you did double pop off the Curse Blast onto the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX, of course, then your opponent's actually taking 2 prizes as well, but Charizard's then maxing at 240, so it's only a little bit too short of the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Maybe that's why he held off for that turn as well, but he didn't have the attacker to go. There's so many small little things, and did we see a way of getting the Psyduck? He's hard drawn into it from the Iono. That is completely locked out. It looks like now the board, because simply it's just full of Pokemon that won't be able to do too much. Is there anything like a Professor Churro scenario? There is one. That's one way to reset what you could do here.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Like, you would have to find a way to release your board and then find a way to gust and Turo scenario in the same turn, right? And I'm pretty sure there's no Iron Bundle in this list either. But we do see the Klefki inside of the hand. And I know, Alex, you were talking about how does Charizard reach there. There's one copy of the Defiance Band in Hermione's list.
That's true.
So we could be seeing that come down just a little bit later. But honestly, a very lucky draw from Fabrizio to be able to find this Psyduck. We will be able to see more Pokemon this turn. Let's see what the Attract Customers brings us.
Yeah, this is so awkward because Hermione actually has the Klefki now in hand from the Iono as well. But there's no way, even if you Professor Churros one of the Pokemon and then retreat into the Klefki to use your Curse Blast, but then you can't retreat back into another attacker. So it's like, it's really awkward scenarios here. But this is the position Hermione finds himself in. He's also discarded, I mean, it's not a great attacker, that Charmeleon, because it's the one, actually, no, sorry, this is the better one, which actually does deal 90 damage. But it will go down quite easily, which is kind of the scary thing.
Yeah, and there's a question, Alex, of what do we even quick search for here, right? I mean, we have Lily's Determination. We have a bunch of cards in hand. We'll see if we're just going to start kind of leveling up here. But I think one of the things that I was kind of looking at, and you were kind of pointing it out, right? When I feel like there's been a big shift about what recovery options we're playing in deck, right? I'm not seeing a Night Stretcher in Hermione's deck, right? A lot of the times, right, Night Stretcher for Dusknoir to do Curse Blast again, right? We're not seeing that in this list. Double Super Rod. It's been very interesting. But I guess with Mesa Goza, right, you can always just, you know, you just got to flip heads sometimes. And sometimes your opponent has that.
We haven't seen one yet, Emily, from both of our players. But there's the Professor Churro scenario. So this will allow Hermione to have a board space ready. Now, this is the kind of awkward scenario now. He's obviously been Iono'd, the Secret Box has been Iono'd away. The Super Rod that he originally had in hand was also Iono'd away. So he could get the Klefki into the active, but then do you then have to target the Psyduck or the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX? And that's kind of the awkward spot, because if you leave the Ogerpon, then you're limited to the amount of Curse Blast you will have. Or if you don't target the Psyduck, then it's kind of an awkward scenario where, well, now that Psyduck's still there and you've got to deal with it.
Alex, you used a word that I'm describing this match as I'm trying to figure it out alongside you. Awkward, right? It's really awkward, especially with Mega Kangaskhan not having that Precious Trolley, no setup. Mesa Goza still flipping tails for both players here. We'll see how exactly this one is going to play out. But still, I mean, there is a option for Clutch, for example, but you got to look at the time, right? I mean, we're 15 minutes into this game one, and neither player has taken a prize card, right? We could have seen an absolute explosion on one side of the field, and now Psyduck is down, and now you can't really just do that. So it's more of a methodical match of how can I get set up as quickly as possible here. Going to see the Arven here on Fabrizio's side. Going to go on ahead and grab the Bravery Charm as well. I can only imagine what's going to come down very soon.
Yeah, even more awkward. HP, I guess if you slam the Bravery Charm onto the Cornerstone, it goes to 260. It's still within range of double Dusknoir Curse Blast. But he had to wait a turn, and I know you said absolutely a moment ago, and wondered if you were trying to go for that
I
angle.
wasn't.
But there's the Mega Absol coming down.
Really good, Alex. Thank you.
But yeah, this is it, because now effectively Hermione's going to have to look for sort of 3 Dusknoir Curse Blasters to get things out of the way so we can start swinging away with like really big Charizard EXs. I guess now there's other targets you can start trying to take out, because typically what often you would try to do with double Cornerstone Ogerpon EX is actually try and get 2 of them down, and then your opponent can't really do too much. But it is just a pass back over to Hermione here, still Blood Moon in the active spot, and what can we work with?
Well, we do have the boss's orders for the boss's orders onto the Psyduck to invalidate the ability with Mischievous Lock, but I feel like we need a couple more pieces other than just boss's orders here. We'll see what the Mesa Goza gives. Can any of our players flip heads today? And they can. It will be Hermione able to go inside of the deck here, see what Pokemon you want to bring out. Once again, that Charmeleon was discarded, but it's about time that we actually see a Charizard. I like the way that Hermione is playing very tame, right? Like not just doing like Rare Candy Zard and then, you know, starting to swing, right? There's a little bit more like methodology technology that has to go into this set rather than some of the other games with Charizard that we've seen.
Yeah, you need some sort of real sort of actual meaningful attacks to go across. Hitting the Blood Moon Ursaluna for 180 only to see it get pennied away. It's really not a great feeling, right? So with the Mesagoza now, we have one more piece of the puzzle to go to try and actually stretch to take knockouts here. We do see the Arven come down, so it'd be interesting to see there. Looks like a rare candy. We do still have Pidgeot's quick search ready to go as well at some stage. He's going to be double checking what's available to him. But right now, I mean, if you just look at the board, right, you have 2 prizes eventually on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. You have 3 prizes on the Mega Absol EX that are available, and there's still that Psyduck just kind of sat there at some stage. Of course, there's pennies to kind of reset the board when you need to, but that's one route to go down without actually having to deal with the Cornerstone Pokemon EX, Emily.
It's interesting here, but we're finally going to see the quick search here. And could probably match. We already have rare candy in hand, and this is the Zard player issue, right? When you already have everything in hand, what more could you want, Alex? See a Jet Energy up to the front here, maybe trying to get something going. But a counter catcher is definitely what we're looking at. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier. When is the right time to start getting the Psyduck out of here and start launching these attacks?
I mean, do you even just maybe ignore the Psyduck once you get a couple of Dustwall pops off? Because if you have Klefki in the active, Damp is not currently live, meaning that you can utilize the Clust Blast from the Dustwars and Dusclopses if you wanted to for the moment. But again, this is where Hermione actually has so many different pieces that you can kind of maneuver. One of the new quote-unquote technologies that you've had in Charizard EX Pidgeot decks is that Jet Energy.
Right.
And that was actually one way to maybe maneuver around the Klefki into the active spot and still save a retreat. As we do see a Curse Blast here now. Finally, where are we going?
We got to make sure we take out the Psyduck first. We have to bring that, or yeah, no, we have the Klefki. We're ready to go here, but it is going to be the Curse Blast. Set us up and ready to go here. See how exactly else this is going to play out here. Do you like Hermione going straight in with the Buddy Buddy Puff and saying, hey, you know what, let me just start to get things potentially reset up here, but it's actually going to be the Mew EX. I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier, right? How does Charizard hit this Cornerstone Ogerpon, and it will be through this Mew EX here. We can use the counter catcher that Hermione pulled a little bit earlier, and we're going to just use this Infernal Rain ability to power up the Mew EX. This works out very well. Yeah,
it's another nice way to save maybe Klefki for a later turn to utilize Dustwall again. You don't need to maybe use it now. We can bring up the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX, get rid of those energies that have been put onto it, and just use Mew to use genome hacking to use its own attack against itself. It can then choose Demolish and deal 140 damage, which is more than the 260 that it has with that Bravery Charm on it. That Jet Energy to maneuver into the active spot as well. Really like the sort of uses of the different cards in that. There's Defiance Band to even stretch a bit further. And here we go. Is there actually, we can even take the knockout on the active.
That is fair. And the thing also, Alex, here too, is that I believe Mew does resist fighting types as well. So does the Cornerstone Ogerpon actually will do 30 less here as it does go into the active. We'll see how exactly Fabricio is going to respond here. We finally seen some prize cards after, Alex, maybe about 20 minutes of setup.
And both players now have heads on Mesagoza. I think that was a flip as well for the first time. I mean, the other scary thing that you can maybe see Fabricio trying to go down now is because he plays double energy switch. There's energies on the active Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. He can maneuver one of those energies. Actually, there's no. Oh, there is a dark. It's very shiny. Sometimes I miss it, but it can go onto the Mega Absol and actually get an energy attachment off and actually start clawing away at Hermione's board with that incredible attack Claw of Darkness, because you are hitting Mew for weakness then, and you're actually then pulling the prize race back in your favor, I suppose, because you'll be going down to 3. Yeah, and that would require, honestly, Hermione's same play to go over again, right? You would have to Super Rod the Mew back in, and then evolve another Charmander on your bench into that Charizard EX, and then Infernal Rain again to the Mew, and now all of a sudden your Charizards don't have any energy on it. This deck doesn't play too much acceleration because it's built into the deck, right? We're not playing something like a Crispin here, but it is going to be the lively Stadium bump as well here. The first time I'm seeing it all day, Alex, where our basic Pokemon are going to get some extra health on them, and that can actually be very helpful when you already have a Bravery Charm stacked onto your Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Yeah, Yveltal also coming down now, obviously a great pivot option because it's got free retreats, but it obviously has and does come in clutch often the times as well with Penny. There's a Penny, and is going into the Yveltal for the moment at least. Didn't hit anything like an energy switch. I mean, it's just going to be maybe try and slow the game down, stop that Mew from retreating, and then figure out from here. Here comes a Bravery Charm as well, because then that way Mew is unable to copy Yveltal's second attack, dealing 110 damage, that Dark Feather, and that wouldn't be... Oh, actually, it's got the Lively Stadium. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, no, not at all. But, you know, it's all these little pieces that have to come together. But can save that Bravery Charm for future turns. So there's a clutch for double the amount of damage because Mew is weak to Dark. Alex, I would love to see something along the lines of like a boss's orders here onto Pheasantipity to take a cruel error, to genome hacking
copy Cruel Arrow, take out the Psyduck, and then we're resetting up our board again here. We'll draw into the Super Rod though, so we were talking about recovery just a little bit earlier, and that's, you know, one, if not the only recovery that we have aside from a second Super Rod here. But the Lively Stadium, very interesting, and it goes to show, once again, this Mega Absol, Mega Kangaskhan deck is not, you know, 100% figured out. You can play it the way you want to with walls or just, you know, reusing Cornerstone, using Psyduck as well. So it is going to be that Super Rod that we talked about a little bit earlier. I'm assuming we're going to get back our Dusk Noir, which we definitely need this turn potentially. I mean, it's in some energy as well.
Yeah, maybe even just, yeah, the energies are important. Maybe even thinking about that Charmeleon if you need to take a turn off to not necessarily use a Charizard to attack, but we can get the Charmeleon prepped onto the board if we're able to find it. We do have quick search, so we do have pieces that can allow us to play around and manipulate the board, I'd say, as well. But remember, things like that Mega Absol does give up free prizes, so if Hermione does need to take out a small single prize to begin with, then we can actually overstretch for the Mega Absol at some stage, because right now, I mean, it's a 310 HP basic, which is kind of nutty if you need to think about it right now.
Yeah, and you would also need to bump the Lively Stadium as well. We do need to see that second copy of Mesagoza go down at some point here, but looking at the hand, we have tons of options. I do know we can definitely attach return onto that Charizard who has needed some energy for some. Don't necessarily hate the Iono and see what comes from it here right now. I would really love to see something like a counter catcher onto the Pheasantipity and then take out the Psyduck, and then Mega Absol is just prime for those final 3 prizes.
I mean, I would love to see that as well. Just for the moment, unable to do so just because of being actually ahead on the prizes from taking out the Blood Moon Ursaluna with the 2 energies that attached. Does find the Dusknoir piece, so has that ready to go when he needs it or when he wants to put the Klefki in the active spot. We now do see the quick search ability being utilized, and we're looking for which piece of what puzzle that Hermione's going to be trying to work out. It looks like he might be trying to put Boss's Orders into his hand. That's been maneuvered to the front of the deck for the moment, but there we go. I mean, of course, unable to play it, has played Iono, so just, you know, trying to set up future turns, which is always so important. That just saves you having to grab another piece of the puzzle later down the line as well. Let's just get it ready to go. So then it's just asking those questions, but this is the point here. Do you clutch back?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. I think it is just a clutch back and say, all right, like, hey, if I can't move, neither can you, but it might just be a pass instead, thinking about the Monkey Dory potentially that there is, that this deck usually does play. I do believe there are 2 in the deck that we haven't seen yet just because of that Precious Trolley being prized here. But back on over to Fabrizio's turn here. Going to see the Arvin here, and like you alluded to earlier, ahead on prize cards, so we could get a little kind of cheeky here with something like a counter catcher, as I was about to talk about here. Maybe even counter-catchering the Dusknoir and with Psyduck kind of down and saying, hey, you can't, you know, go anywhere. You can't blow yourself up. You're going to be kind of stuck here. We know that this deck does not play any Psychic Energies, so that Shadow Bind not going to be available at all. That Dusknoir is going to be stuck. Yeah,
I mean, the only other out then is, I guess, the one card that we've seen already, or 2 outs, actually. We've seen one of the Jet Energies attached to the Mew EX, and there is one more flying around somewhere. I don't think I've seen it discarded so far, but because you have Pidgeot, you have so many, like, avenues to get out of it. In effect, if you wanted to get the Jet Energy, you can just jet into the Klefki, then, well, now your Dusknoir's live again, and you can decide how you want to play out or during your turn. But, you know, Fabrizio's going to be doing his utmost to try and really just handle the board state here. Does have that... does have the free retreat because Mew didn't use clutch. And will we see an energy switch? He does have it in hand. We're going to see a Claw of Darkness from Mega Absol, and it will take the knockout because it is hitting for weakness here. A 310 HP Mega Absol because of that Lively Stadium as well. It does also have Bravery Charm, but there's the counter catcher on the Charizard, and we're going to start softening up this big, terrible, bad, dark EX Pokemon.
Doesn't feel great, especially when your opponent not only has Lively Stadium down, but a Bravery Charm to go with. Alex, do the math for me. What do we need to do? How much damage do we need to do to take out this Mega Absol in one hit?
Well, Mega Absol right now, 280, and we'll quickly touch upon this Claw Dodge. He's already seen Hermione actually telepath and take 1 card into hand, so I mean, he doesn't know which one he takes. It's likely that Boss's Orders. But Mega Absol, yes, 280 HP, plus the 50 from the Bravery Charm, 330, Emily, and then you've got the Lively Stadium, 30 more, 360 HP basic. We spoke about Mega Kangaskhan having a lot of HP, but this is a dark, big, bad attacker in itself. Claw of Darkness just causing chaos, removes the fire energy, so that Charizard's actually unable to attack just off the cuff here.
Yeah, it still has Pidgeot set up, so we could just go on ahead and grab another Fire Energy if we had it in the deck, and we don't. Gonna go into the deck using Ultra Ball, grabbing this Charmeleon. I could anticipate, Alex, maybe, I think, even though we got rid of Arvin for turn, do you think the quick search target could be something like a Super Rod this turn, our second Super Rod, get back into it? But it's really hard to say. We can absolutely start swinging with the Charizard EX. I mean, there has been a prize card taken on Fabrizio's side, but it's looking a little bit weird here. I mean, the lines are just like meshing together very interestingly, and once again, this Mega Absol is not going down to Burning Darkness.
I'm just trying to think if there's a way of maybe overstretching yourself. I mean, you can still quick search for something like the Jet Energy and then bring the Klefki into the active and then maybe pop Dusknoir's Curse Blast onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, or maybe you just find a way to get into Mew EX and actually Claw of Darkness back. Maybe take out another important resource that Fabrizio might be holding on to and saying, well, actually, I might just have to sacrifice this Mew EX for the moment. just so I can get my board back to a decent state. But this is the troubling scenario that Hermione finds himself in right now. Don't think that hand's too big after the Iono and then into what's working with. There's a restart. Looks like it's going to be for 2 cards. See how big those cards can be. Is that a stadium?
It was a Mesagoza, so we can at least bump the Lively Stadium here, but we still have...
Bring it down. If we get that Mesagoza down, if this is a jet energy, we could actually go into Klefki, Curse Blast, the active for 130, change the stadium. Then the Absol only has 200 HP remaining and actually could take a massive knockout here, going down to 1 prize. I don't know necessarily if that's... Actually, that's going to be a really devastating turn if you can actually pull that together because, yeah, no Lively Stadium means you go down to 330 HP, Curse Blast dealing 130, and then you can go into Mew, Claw of Darkness for 200. Is that the route we're going down? I imagine this is probably the one opportunity to do so.
Could be, but Alex, you got to talk about the time as well. 30 minutes are gone in this game 1. It's not feeling too good, right? Especially when it might even just come down to 1 game. I mean, Hermione, 4 prizes left. Fabrizio, 5 prizes left, right? Unless we're going to start seeing those combo turns of Curse Blast and starting to see some serious prize cards getting taken. This one is just going to be as slow as possible. And that's the thing with TCG. Sometimes with these really kind of long, drawn-out games, it's really hard to tell what your players are thinking, especially when something like Charizard, who has always played something like a Dusk Noir, gets immediately stopped, and now you have to find a couple of other ways around the play.
I'm just second guessing myself. Maybe I mathed wrong. I don't know. Maybe that was just a route because he did decide to go down the Iono route here with the Super Rod. Maybe get some of those energies back into the deck now because there's 2 fire energies. That's why he wasn't able to really pull off another sort of meaningful attack. But that's the scary thing. I'm just thinking like the Mew EX Genome hacking for 200. Plus the Curse Blast, if we had a Jet Energy from the Klefki. I don't know, maybe it's a different route, maybe it's just too risky at that point. And Mesagoza being utilized now, here's the die roll. It's a heads.
What do you even grab, Alex?
Oh, Finning is winning, Emily.
Oh, of
Finning
course.
is winning.
Of course. And honestly, the Jet Energy line that you were talking about was also winning, right?
I think. Unless I get
it's
wrong.
just not in the deck, though, unfortunately. I do see it missed, but really just can't find it there.
I thought there was one more Jet. Look, it doesn't matter. I won't dwell on it.
It's gone.
We're moving on. We're moving on here. So let's just see how Hermione does play this out. Now, it does have defensivity in hand. Was that just a pass over?
Might just have to be, right? I mean, you have no second energy to attach for the Burning Darkness here. You were able to get rid of one piece of the problem, right, which is Mesagoza and bumping the Lively Stadium. But I mean, this Mega Absol still very much healthy, right? And the thing is, we still have a couple of pieces in the hand that could serve us well, right? I mean, we have a Pheasantipity, we have an Ultra Ball, easily things that Fabrizio can get rid of. Fortunately, no heads off of the Mesagoza here, but honestly, it's really in Fabrizio's seat potentially.
Yeah, it does have Boss's Order in hand, so can actually target. It has another counter catcher available as well, which is still live because he's only taken 1 to Hermione's 2. So it does have options. Looking to maybe bench that Petron EX as well, give him a bit more mobility around the board state. Does also hold on to that Monkey Dory, which is another sort of useful Pokemon to have on the field, especially when you have this big, bulky, basic Pokemon sort of taking hits. You can sort of fling back some damage counters. Looks like Petron EX is going to be the Pokemon of choice for the bench right now. Energy Switch is going to be quite an interesting move as we go into the Yveltal now. And maybe we're going to take another measured approach to this turn and just slow down the game a little bit more, Emily.
Yeah, this is really hard to say because the tempo of the match has completely just stopped, right? We've gone into more like methodical, which totally makes sense here. We definitely don't want to leave a 3-prize Pokemon active, especially when Charizard is only getting stronger by the second. So why not go back into Yveltal using the Petron EX and that subjugating chains, and also bringing the Pidgeot EX up into the active and clutching. That Pidgeot is not going anywhere. And if it's one thing that we really haven't talked about so far, Alex, it's the energy distribution here, right? This Pidgeot cannot use Blistery Wind to attack because there's not much energy left in this deck.
We've seen the 2 fires go back into the deck, but then that's both Super Rods being already used, right? So if we get the energies attached to the Pidgeot via a Charizard EX, that's not really going to be helpful for future attackers when your Charizard's going to have 0. There's another Tails. Mesagoza are really not doing great things for either our players right now. There's a missed energy, as you mentioned, in hand as well.
It is there.
There are a few pieces, but let's just see how Hermione plays this turn out now as well, because that Pidgeot is stuck. Is Professor Churro's scenario still around? There's a couple of options here. Like you said, I have to keep looking back at the clock. There's still just under 16 minutes remaining. It's been a long while since I've seen a game 1 go this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, it's hard to even, decipher what is the most optimal line here, right? Us casters, we can go on and on about every line, right? But what's the right line? Especially when time is starting to kind of play into this as well, where we're really like, all right, well, both of these players at this point, right, just want to win their game 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they don't want to end in a tie. Now, granted, both of these players safely within our phase 2 of the bracket so far, right? But when it comes to things like asymmetrical cut, Alex, these points matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Every point matters. It's another Tails for Mesagoza. I think it's like 2 for 10 now, which which is shocking. But we move on. We move on for the time being, as we do see the poison ticker. We have now another. So after the boss's orders on the Pidgeot, we're now going to try and trap this Duswa, because we're just going to be as annoying as possible and spread some damage counters around the board at this moment state. It looks like it's going to be another clutch. One of the things that Fabrizio is missing, and typically one of the most important things of this Mega Absol, Mega Kangaskhan deck, actually is trying to get energies on the board state, using Turbo Energize, or just getting energy attachments off, and he's not really able to get too much going, and it's just going to be that clutch onto the Duswa, which I assume then is also weak to dark. That's why it's the double damage of 40 on it currently at the moment.
And goes to show, right? I mean, this is kind of what sometimes this deck falls back down into, right? Saying, all right, well, it seems like you're starting to get yourself going. You've taken a couple prize cards, but now let me stop you from doing anything, right? Now, as you said, Alex, 1 Jet Energy left in this deck here. So if we were able to find it, we could, you know, jet Klefki into the active and try to get something going here, but we'll see how that one's going to play out. I mean, it's just such a methodical line. It is very difficult to tell what is the correct decision, because I believe there's just 1 Jet Energy left, and once you've used it, it's gone. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I guess that's sometimes the most important thing of like having to manage those resources. Maybe you know you're going to need that Jet Energy at some point later down the line. Is Professor Churro scenario still in the deck, or has that been discarded as well?
I guess it's been used or discarded, but it is just boss I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like maybe because there's only 1 Jet Energy, you don't want to give Fabrizio that one chance of just having Yveltal and just closing out the game because you have no attackers left. So maybe that's the route that Hermione's been thinking about, and just doesn't want to get trapped. We've already seen the Yveltal trapping on a previous stream round already, and you know that really clutching its way through for some important players out there in the field right now. But this is where it gets real tricky for Hermione, I think.
Could be just trying to line up something for next turn as well. It doesn't have to use the boss now, especially because we have Petron EX onto the bench here. So anything that does come into the active, if Hermione was going to use it that turn, it was just going to be kind of thrown back to the bench anyway. We'll see what the draw is here, and it is going to be a Lily's Determination. Not for the full 8. There has been 1 prize card taken. We'll see how exactly this one's going to kind of figure itself out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what piece does Fabrizio need or want here right now. It has expended a couple of those counter catchers, used one of those boss's orders. We've seen Penny being utilized already as well. What else is there that could be useful from Fabrizio's side to maybe progress the board state a little bit better? Maybe having to find a Penny at some stage, so maybe we can get a Monkey Dory down and start taking damage counters over across to Hermione's side. Haven't seen too much. There's Mezagobes being utilized. Tails again, and it's going to be replaced, I think, because there's Lively Stadium actually waiting in the wings in Fabrizio's hand as well. Cornerstone Ogerpon EX now getting powered up with that fighting energy. Maybe just holding on to that stadium for the moment, and we'll just clutch again. That's another 40 damage, sorry, going up to 80 now. 80 HP remaining, 2 more clutches available.
Yeah, I think now we're going to go into maintenance mode if we're on Fabrizio's side, right? I think now it's just, how can I draw this game out long enough here where you're not going to be able to do too much? As we're going to head back on over to Hermione's side, going to see the quick search. And once again, Alex, it's down to the fact of, do we want to launch that Jet Energy? And I think we do at this rate, right? I think we do want to start being able to take prizes. We're at 11 minutes left in the entire round, Alex. And this game has definitely been very puzzling, right? I think for both players, for us, we're trying to figure out what our optimal line is here, because honestly, whoever wins this game 1, and honestly, it has to finish, right? I mean, we got 11 minutes to finish 1 game. They're going to be probably winning they are going to be winning the whole set. Yeah.
That's the kind of the real, I mean, you called it a puzzle. I think that's exactly what we've been trying to work out here. Here comes the Jet Energy Klefki into the active spot now. Duswa now live. We're getting a little bit jittery here behind the desk because actually things are happening. Duswa is ready to pop off if it chooses to do so, because this is going to be the one easy way of maneuvering that Klefki into the active. There it is. Curse Blast being utilized here. Where is it going?
That's the big question, right? It is going to be going down onto the Mega Absol here. No Lively Stadium in place, so we are going to see the boss's orders as well. Alex, could it be a Mew EX?
It's coming to fruition here now. Mew EX is coming into the active spot. Genome hacking is going to be live and ready. And we also, actually, it's even in prizes, so right now it's not doing too much. And there it is. We're going to be popping off. And how do we deal with this board state here? Ooh, a couple of interesting choices. You don't really care about the Princess Trolley maybe too much anymore. Pokegear is actually a really good card to maybe try and get rid of. The Mist Energy is like just an energy, right? You don't really care about it too much. I think you just want to limit what Fabrizio has access to and just try not to give him any of those supporters. And he takes 3 prizes going down to 1. And this is it. You're forcing your opponent under so much pressure. We're finally at a stage where we might finally start to think of a conclusion.
Yeah, and honestly, it's coming down to the fact that Yveltal Clutch is still live. Will Clutch be able to go all the way through here? And I think that's what Fabrizio's looking at, right? How many Jet Energies have we used? Have we gotten rid of our Professor Churro scenario here? Is it safe to just go on ahead and counter catcher something like the Klefki and just saying, you know what, you're going to stay here for the rest of the game?
Yep, this is going to be, I think the play from Fabrizio now is, Oh, he's hit heads, but it's going to be Monkey Dory, get a Dark Energy on it. We're going to clutch some stuff up and start flinging some damage counters, I think with Poison, although he's put the Yveltal active in the right now, which means he can't really get it in the active spot without poisoning it. So he can't keep that damage tickers over. But yeah, that's one way. I mean, he still needs to take 4 prizes.
It's going to be flip the script here. We do have to find a way to gust a Klefki into the active because it's certainly not going to be Charmeleon there. One that can very still well attack here. We'll see how this one is going to play out. I feel like the flip the script really is just going to make it or break it here. We need a gust, boss, counter catcher, something here. Arvin, we'll see how many counter catchers we have been played. That might have been the missing piece, but there's that dark energy as well, Alex.
Yeah, I think 2 counter catchers have been played, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to go check the deck with this precious trolley as well. We have 1 deck bench space available. Yeah, no counter catchers. Yeah, that's what I mean. I was starting to count the counter catchers and the bosses plays because we saw the counter catcher on the Pidgeot, the boss's orders on the Pidgeot, then another counter catcher on the Dusknoir, trying to trap that earlier. So we're in sort of dire straits from a resource management perspective here, because now we're not going to be able to gust up anything.
Nope.
We can stop the Mew from getting out of place because we do have the stadium in hand, right? Tatsugiri is currently being benched. I guess we can free retreat into that and then use Petron to actually then maneuver Yveltal back into it. So we're looking for boss's orders from this attract customers, I think.
Huge here. Finds the penny, finds the boss. We're going to go through the entirety of it, though, but it will be the boss's orders that we talked about here. Not going to be able to go anywhere. I have a bad feeling, Alex, that Klefki is going to be stuck for the rest of the 7 minutes in this match. Do you think we finish?
4 clutches before Klefki is knocked out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Yeah, I'm hopeful. Here we go.
A little bit of hope here.
Yveltal poisoned, boss's orders on the Klefki, and now that Klefki with 70 HP has no weakness according to the Dark. It's weak to metal. Lively Stadium in play. Actually, Klefki's bringing it up to 100, so it's actually 5 clutches here, and we're going to see some Yveltal play here with clutch. Maybe Fabrizio able to clutch this out and not lose, or maybe find a way to win if he's able to get some Monkey Dories down and start flinging some damage counters across the board.
So hard to say, right? Both super rods have been used, so we can't go on ahead and reset up something like a Dusknoir, for example, Alex. It's really just kind of this passing war back and forth. We'll see how this one's going to play out, but I don't have a good feeling about this.
Yeah, we don't have Penny in hand right now, so we're going to have to free retreat into the Tatsugiri to try and find it. It's one of the cute little things it can do for the moment here. He really needs that Penny. 6 cards. Oh, he's hit it.
My goodness.
Massive hits there from the attract customers. Tatsugiri doing his utmost to give Fabrizio a chance here. We're going to have to pick up one of those Pokemon on the board state and then maneuver back into it with a poison Yveltal, so we can start clocking up some damage counters and then literally start flinging around some damage counters using the Adrenabrain of Monkey Dory. So that's, I think it's fine. Swing by Monkey Dory with Dark Energy comes down, and this is the game plan. We're going to be dealing 50 damage a turn, essentially, because of Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain and the clutch. And now we just need to start taking some knockouts here. So Charizard going up to 230 damage on itself here, and still another 100 to go. So still some way.
Yeah, this Monkey Dory Yveltal lock that we've been seeing more and more, that I've seen now a couple times in a day, has been really detrimental, right? Like, I feel like we've seen so much of this kind of like battery, the hamster and the hamster wheel, right? As long as you have both pieces up and running, this is a very hard combo to get around, especially because we have been kind of talking just in this game 1 that has now lasted 45 minutes, right? A lot of our options are really gone here. We'll see how exactly this one's going to play out. There is a boss's orders in hand, but I do think that Fabrizio has the right bench, the right board, everything's in position to start moving these damage counters around. Now, granted, if we want to try and get as many damage counters as possible to line up something like a crazy prize knockout, I think that was definitely possible maybe about 20 minutes ago. But still, I think right now it's just using Yveltal as the battery and then having Monkey Dory just fling these damage counters back and forth.
Yeah, I'm trying to play it out in my mind, right? How many more turns we're going to have? Because Klefki's got, there's a clock on Klefki right now. It's got 60 HP remaining because of Lively Stadium. And then this is the other awkward spot, actually, also, because Klefki in the active spot means Mischievous Lock is in play, and Tatsugiri is a basic Pokemon, right?
Uh-oh.
Something we need to have a quick look at, because I realize that's not really allowed to happen. But for the moment, whilst we're trying to figure that out, because we've been so consumed by this potential Yveltal lock. With Klefki in the active, you can't Petron either, you can't Monkey Dory. There is a few things we just need to work out here. I'm glad I'm eventually been able to see that, because I was just seeing about all the different combos that are available with this, but we are just going to have a quick check.